Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It is Monday. It's January 11th. This is our chart lesson for the day, and I'm a little late getting this done, and I want to get out of here and go watch the ball game. So I'm probably going to, unfortunately, rush through this a little quicker than usual. I may not spend as much time, but we spent most of the day in a downtrend. You can see this two-tiered channel. We had a break here at a new low, and then we kind of rallied into the afternoon and continued to go higher. But for the most part, most of the trading day was neutral to down. And you can see this clearly, this two-tiered channel here working lower. You could have got that off the first two swings. We got it confirmed here. Um, we break, we got one coming up. We break lower and go higher, and we get the break on the main trend line. And then we get a couple of legs down, pretty good move down actually, and then we reverse out of there. So but I want to back on out, talk about the trades, and wrap it up so I can get out of here and go watch the ball game. And I apologize for kind of rushing through this, but it's been a busy day for me. But anyway, the first trade I saw was around 8 o'clock this morning. There just wasn't much going on. It's actually tempting to go long right here. But we got a double top, we got a lower high, and we got a second entry long right there. And it's not a perfect signal bar, but the main thing is you got this trend line working down, and that's the first break. So that's the first chance. You got to wait for that break and a new low. And then this is such a huge bar that I made this one green. You know, it's one of those where you'd like to go long on it, but you really need to get in way down here with a limit order. And you just wouldn't have got filled on that one, but you know, you might take a chance with a stop there. That's the first break. It's a big reversal type bar, so it's worth considering going long there. I'm going to back out just a little more here. But you get the better entry here. You push up, you pull back, and then you go higher. You get this bar. Notice how it gets a slightly lower high than that one. It's a bullish bar. It's kind of holding back inside the trend line. So I like going long there on a second entry off this low. And really, you could almost consider that a second entry counting from the high, because this is like one move down, a first entry. Actually, this was the one you could count as a second entry off the low. I'm sorry, I'll take that back. Even though this is really the second entry on this chart, that's almost like one move down and then first entry pullback and second entry. So that's another reason I kind of like that bar there, even though it's a bigger bar. And then this was the second entry counting off the low. Notice the first leg up or first move up, pull back. So this was your first entry, pull back, and second entry. And you get your lower high right there. So I like going long right there. It's kind of like a little breakout pullback long above that little double top there as well. So I like that one. We did get our break. This moves to a new high. We turn down. You can't go short below that bar, but when you get another chance here and you get this negative bar, I like going short right there, at least to catch you back to the EMA. But you might catch the high, and you would have. If you caught this, you caught the high of the day. And if you just caught that one trade down, you could have got a pretty nice trade out of it. But notice that's a new high. You're moving down, you get a first entry long, pull back second entry long, it fails, and that pretty much, this really confirmed the trend line here, but you can't go short right there. It's at the right into this little support area. It's a huge bar. If you do go short here, you got to try to get back in up here with a limit order, and you would have when it came back, but I think you're better off just to sit tight and wait and see what happens. It touches the trend line again and turns down, gives you a bearish bar. Just go short right there and look at it go. And you want to be looking for a possible measured move for the first move down. You can see that right there. I'd actually probably measure it from right here to right there, and you can see it's really, really close. And so you would have looked to exit down here. And then you get your break. Notice you get a break. It's tempting to go short right here, and it would have worked if you had of it. Would have gotten just enough to scalp out. But notice this trend line working out. We don't have a break yet. That's the first break, and then it moves to a new high. And look what also happens. You get a pull. you got the new low right here. This swing here is lower than this one, so you got a new count. Pull back, first entry, pull back. So that's a second entry short. It's not a perfect signal bar again, but you got the break, a move to a new high, and you're looking for a new low. So you got pretty much what you need. You got a second entry short as well. And on a bigger picture, this is one move up, then a two-legged correction, then a second move up. So if you went to a bigger chart, that's a second entry short. So there's several reasons to like that one. Plus you're looking for this retest of the low. It's actually tempting to go long there. And you could have if you wanted to. I really should probably mark that one green because you're looking for a new high as well. But personally, I think you're better off to wait and see if you can get a short, and you get that right here. And look at that move. It's a nice move. And what it is they've got a bunch of people trapped going long there that don't recognize what's happening. And we come back, look at there, we got one leg up, correction, second leg up. There's a second entry short right there. It's way away from the EMA. You've got everything in place for a reversal, so there's always the possibility that you've got a bigger pattern working up here and you don't have a new short yet, or a new, you don't have a break of that trend line. Playing the shorter term when there, you got a break and a move up. But I like this one just to try to scalp out coming back to the EMA. And at that point, I was looking at this as short term. But you got to consider that one, so that's the reason I made it green. You do try to draw a trend line off that, and guess what? It comes back. It touches it almost to the tick. It actually pushes through one or two ticks and turns down. I like this one. It confirms that trend line. It gives you a break. Now you've got a break of even the second possible trend line here, and the reason you're not going to get a new high there because you've got this bigger trend line possibility taking over. This is a really big bar. It's probably going to be hard to enter it, but if you recognize what's going on here, and I like this trade, so I did mark it green. Then you get a failed second entry long right here. Notice the new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It fails, turns down. It's right off that new trend line. Well, you wouldn't have had that trend line yet. I drew that off those two, so forget that. But look how it pushes through the EMA, pulls back, it tests it, and we're probably going to test this low, and we could go even lower. And you probably want to be looking. There's your first leg down, and so you're looking for a measured leg, which puts your prices right down in here. Notice we kind of started, smart traders start buying in there that we're getting short because that's your measured move, and then it pushes a little bit lower and traps people and then goes higher. That's ideal. That's what you want to see there. You can't enter any of these others. I think it's too risky. This one maybe, but the reason I don't like it is you don't have enough room to scalp out, and this is a new low here, so you don't want to be going. It's not the low of the day, but this is the low for anything after the regular session open. And notice what happens. It does push lower and it tries to bounce, but it can't. And so you don't know. A lot of times it's going to bounce, and you just can't go short there. I just think you're better off to wait. This one would have worked. This is a breakout pullback short. Maybe I can make that one green if you want to be aggressive. It is really tempting, but I didn't like it because there's not enough room to scalp out before you get to that low. And none of these others you want to enter at all. I like this one because you got this channel working down. You get the break, a move to a new low. Now you've got a perfect measured move. If you saw this, you want to drag it down to the next low, and it does bounce right off of that low right there to the tick basically. But the reason I really like this one, and it is green, is because we're so far away from the EMA and we've had such a big move down, and it's time for a little bounce. And you get that here. And look, it shoots right through the EMA, it pulls back, gives you a first entry, and it pulls back, and it looks like it may be going to give you a reversal pattern, but it doesn't. It stays below the EMA. It's a failed second entry long, but you don't want to go long there just because it's not a very good signal bar. It's kind of stacking up there. This is like a little fake out is all it is, and this is more like congestion, and you got one leg down, a little correction, and a second leg down, and then it bounces. So I like this one because it's basically a failed. You've already got your new low, and you're kind of looking for a reversal. Let me draw this on here. There's actually a trend line working up there, and you get a break. And when that failed, you could have actually taken. Well, actually, that is the short I'm talking about right there. You could go short right there, uh, but and that's why you want to go short because this is a failed attempt to go higher on this high here, and so it's a failed second entry long. But you don't want to go long because you don't get a good setup. I got kind of confused there trying to get through this, but notice you got this trend line working up. This is your first break, so you may get a retest of that high. You should get a retest of that high. Maybe not if the market's too weak, but you need a really good setup to go long there, and you don't get it. It's more sideways. You don't have a very good signal bar here. There's a little bit of overlap and congestion, so just sit tight. And when it fails to go higher, when it goes up and instantly turns down and closes almost on its low, that's a long trap. Go short right there. All it's good for is a scalp, and then it bounces. But then you got one leg down, a little two-legged correction, and another leg down. So I like that one for a reversal because you were looking for a new high. And this is a bullish type reversal bar. There's plenty of room before you get to this high. You might be a little bit concerned about that midline, but there's even room in there to get out. So I like going long there. If you didn't go long there, when it turns down and turns up, I like going long there. And you could even add on there. This is a big bar. It's hard to get in though. And then you get another little pullback and a nice reversal bar. This doesn't break lower first, but when you got that lower high, I like going long right there. And looking for this thing to reverse, at least back up to here. You do get a chance to go short right here, but look what happened. Now you got this trend line working up, and that's the first break. So it's risky going short on that bar without a break of this trend line yet. So I think you got to skip that one. If you took it, it worked. It is a long way away from this is really your signal bar. So by the time this one breaks lower, the only way you could get in that would be with a limit order, a tick or so back to make sure you got room to get out. It would have worked even with a stop, but that's a really big risk. And I don't like taking it because you don't have a break of the trend line yet. Again, it could probably be green because the bigger trend line, the bigger pattern held, and that's what you want, and that's a fairly bearish bar. So if you entered it waiting on it to break here, then drop in a limit order a few ticks back, I'm okay with it. And if you were looking at it as just a scalp to get back to the EMA, I'm okay with it. But this is what will happen to you a lot of times is see it's going to make that retest of a high, and we end up getting a break of the big trend line here in the big channel. Now you got to break at a new high, but this signal bar is not very good. So see if you get a second entry, and when it goes higher and then turns down and gives you that big bearish bar, you actually should put your stop right there. But you could even wait on a break below this one and try to get in. You would have gotten left behind if you did that though. So you almost could just put your entry stop right there and thinking that you'll probably get to the EMA for sure, and it could go lower. So I like that entry, and then it pulls back and gives you a failed second entry long here, and look at that big bearish bar. It's a pretty big bar, so you might try to let it break and then get a limit order, but it's a trap, so I'd just go short on the stop right there and look at it go. It just takes off. And then you get a break and a new low. It tries to reverse, but this is more sideways. This is more of a little range right here. Congestion type range. It's really a little big for congestion. It's more like a range. And you actually get a failed break out the low, two legs up, and a failed break out the top. We traded down, so you figure it's probably going to continue out the other side. I like that one. You would probably want to use a limit order to give you enough room to get out before you got to here. But this is the real low you're concerned about. So as long as you can get out from there, you probably got good odds on it. And you may get left behind again with a stop. By using a limit order. So just use sell stop right there. I'm okay with that one right there because it's that failed break higher. And look at it go. And it pulls back and gives you a little breakout pull back short. Big bearish bar. I like that one. And then you get your failed second entry long there. Again, a big bearish reversal bar, go short. And make sure that you do your measured move. See if you get a measured leg down. And you can see we actually went a little bit further than that again, just like we did over here. It bounces a little bit right in there, pushes lower, and then reverses. It's tempting again to go short right there. There is no break of this trend line. But look how close it is to that low. I just don't think you want to risk it. You want to get in on one of these back here. I think we've moved too far. We're too far away from the EMA. Lots of reasons to skip it. We didn't quite have a measured move. Actually, we did have a measured move there, didn't we? Let me go back and double check that. I can't remember if there was a measured move there. There's your leg. So yeah, that's another reason. You've already got pretty much, you're not quite there. You're missing it by a few ticks, but it's so close. It's just not worth risking that one. So just wait. And we overshot the channel here. We actually had already had the break, and now we got a new low. So watch for a reversal. You got to be real careful here. If we get a good setup to go short, I would probably take this short. But notice we don't get anything. We get a first entry, and then it rockets on. And you get a second entry. It doesn't really fail, but you could treat this like a failure. And that's your reversal pattern. A nice reversal bar. Just go long there. You got enough room to get out before you get back up here. And that was pretty much it. That really got you right into the 2 o'clock hour. It's a shame when you get a nice, strong reversal pattern like this, but you don't get the setup. So, actually, it's tempting. We're so far away from the EMA, and you got this trend line. And that's a nice bullish bar. It opened on its low and closed on its very high. It's really tempting there to go long. And it's real close to where I could give it a green, but I'm not going to because there's no break of that right there. There's a chance this thing pulls back and catches you and comes back down here and stops you out or something. So I think you just got to skip it. There really just wasn't much to catch in the afternoon. But if you're going to try to enter this, this is where I would do it. I definitely wouldn't try to enter here because this does not look like a reversal pattern, and you are looking for a possible retest of this low. So this one is borderline green. And even this one is borderline blue. It could almost be green because it's a first entry. But it is a failed second entry short, or you could treat it like one even though it's not really a failure because it did get a scalp. So, and it's a reversal type bar. It bounces right off the EMA, the trend line together. There's enough room to get out. I like that one, so I'll leave it blue. It's borderline though. And that's what I saw today. And again, I hate I had to kind of rush through this today. I felt rushed. And would have liked to spend a little more time on each trade. But I'm going to get out of here today and go home and watch the ball game. The national championship game is tonight if you're a college football fan, which I am. So I don't want to miss that. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to get out of here today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.